welcome back to the San Juan Islands. I'm Poplar Ponderosa, and today we'll be continuing making this custom map. If this is your first time seeing this series, I recommend you check out the previous episodes linked above to catch up on the location details, terrain generation, and transportation networks. Before we go any further, I want to give a quick update on something I had discussed in previous episodes. Since I published part 2, I've discovered that the international ferry service from Sydney on Vancouver Island, Canada, to Friday Harbor, Washington, has been suspended until further notice. It was actually suspended near the beginning of the pandemic, and according to the Washington State Department of Transportation, the service will continue to be suspended until at least 2030 due to vessel availability constraints. That's a long time. In this video, we will be placing natural resources, including ore, fertile land, oil, and forests. Along the way, we will also be doing some terrain modification and placemaking. By the end of this video, the map should be ready for playtesting, which we will get into in the next video. After it has been playtested, I will make some revisions, place some props, and add finishing touches. Here are some of the main mods I will be using today. Toggle It, which I'll be using to toggle contour lines, extra landscaping tools for terrain modification and tree planting, and the forest brush for easily and consistently creating diverse forests. Alright, let's dig in. Step 6. Natural resources. In this step, we will be placing ore, fertile land, and oil. Forests are technically another resource, but because they're more aesthetic and complex, they will be covered in their own section. I tried to place ore mainly in hilly or mountainous areas. I included a few somewhat flat areas for playability and some offshore options for those that like the seabed mining vessel. Looking at satellite imagery, we can see that the San Juan Islands have significant arable areas. I was quite liberal with placing fertile land and tried to make their locations somewhat accurate to the real islands, but also ideal for good gameplay. difficult to place oil because the real location is not abundant in oil to my knowledge. With that aside, I tried to place oil in locations that would make the most sense from a gameplay perspective. I located them mainly where rivers, lakes, or lagoons would have left sediment and included a few offshore locations. Okay, that was the easy part. Now let's move on to planting some trees and making this place look alive. Step 7. Forests. I have mostly used the vanilla trees that were part of the 7th anniversary update. These great assets were created by Mr. Mason. If you prefer different trees, you can use Bob and replace all of a specific tree with another. This combined with Theme Mixer 2 can make the map feel like it's a totally different environment. As mentioned earlier, I used the Forest Brush mod to create the forests. I made custom groups of trees that are mainly defined by altitude. The Marsh brush includes cottonwoods, oaks, rhododendrons, grass clusters, and wild hedges. This is a nice mix for wetland areas or along a lakeside. Altitude brush includes boreal and generic pine trees. These are rugged trees that can withstand strong winds that may be experienced at higher altitudes. apples and bushes brush includes apple trees and wild hedges, as it is in the name. I wanted to include apple trees because the Pacific Northwest is actually a great climate for growing apples. They also add a subtle splash of color. Brush contain quite a mix. It includes boreal and generic pines, cottonwoods, chestnut, oak and linden trees, and wild hedges. I wish the vanilla game included arbutus trees, as they are a prominent tree in the region along the coast and are very beautiful. I've also not found any arbutus trees in the Steam Workshop. If you know of one, please let me know in the comments. Mid-altitude brush includes boreal and generic pines and cottonwood and oak trees. This mix allows me to blend between the low and mid-altitude forests. Towards the end here, I was starting to hit the tree limit, so I cleared out a few areas and thinned some of the forests to make it work. The real San Juan Islands have much more dense forests, but I'm trying to make this map playable in vanilla. If you would like to make the forests more dense, Tree Anarchy can unlock the tree limit. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about how this is looking. One last item here. In the video, I mentioned I would channelize this intersection, but didn't show how I did it. And now the map is ready to test. In the next episode, I will be playtesting the map and then making revisions. I'll also add some props and do some fine detailing. Once we know that everything works and the map can support a decent starting city, I will publish the map to the Steam Workshop. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.